Hello and welcome to Faction Turn 28 here at the Unrestricted Lorefare Beacon Space channel. Welcome on in to our Beacon Space setting, which is our sci-fi setting set in a near-far future world where a green wave of light, a green wave of energy, it's not entirely sure, but some beacon calls many species to beacon space. Welcome on in. I'm Xavier Stordes, or you may know me on Discord. I think right now my nickname is Zini, my character from the Unrestricted Lorefare rediscovery sessions taking place within Beacon Space with my co-host of a member that is in our Twitch chat, Interfriend, who plays a fantastic little robot gecko, and Demise, as some of you may know from his channel, getting to play his classic cowboy of Seymour Valentine. Welcome on in, everyone. I don't think I have any other pre-show announcements. Just, the standard. The map looks a little bit nicer, the spreadsheets hopefully been updated, and the centralized rule document continues to be even more centralized. Oh, this is hard to read still. That's a little bit better. Cool. With that, though, I think we can go ahead and get started proper with Faction Turn 28. I don't have any pre-turn actions to take at the top of my spreadsheet, so I think we get to launch right on in to the Faction Turn itself. Seems fitting that the map should sit here on Tellus as we get to start this faction turn with the new Tellus Council. It'll be interesting to see how this council evolves over the coming turns, but at least for this turn, they get to be first. Oh, 1 second, 1 second. If that's a right-click action, Interfriend, maybe you can just take care of that, and I'll thanks. I didn't even know I had those enabled for the first chatting pop-ups. Oops. Well, I'll have something to fix later, it looks like. For now then, let's get started with Tellus Council proper coming in first this faction turn. So there is one small note. The spreadsheet here says they should have an income of 1, which would be correct according to the rules, as written. However, it was argued to me, perhaps rightly, by a member of the council that if I am limiting how fast the stats for the council can increase, with only a maximum of 1 increase in each stat per turn, that perhaps the income deficit should also have that same limit, so that it can't jump immediately up to -2 from being at 0. And so I have accepted that positioning as making a lot of sense. If one of these numbers has a limit, perhaps it should be universal. So they will only have a -1 to their upkeep this time, giving them an income of 2 faction credits instead of the listed 1 that's right here. So that'll take them up to 17, and their stats will increase to a 2-3-3, giving them quite a bit more health. Let's update this note so that we know how much more of each stat needs to be applied over the next couple of turns. Great. With that, though, I think we can go ahead and copy this information into the spreadsheet. I've added a few more columns this time so that I can actually center-ish turn 28 on the stream, rather than it being all the way on the far right edge. So hopefully you all can let me know if you prefer that view, and I can make a note to keep doing so in the future. Next up, though, the Tellus Council is going to take the buy asset action to purchase a post-tech industry asset on Tellus. So let's go make that purchase for them to find the rest of their assets that no longer have purchase sickness. So Tellus Council purchasing a post-tech industry. And of course, this purchase is on Tellus, their homeworld. Cool. let's charge them appropriately for that, taking their faction credits down to a balance of 9 after spending 8 on that purchase. That wraps up the Tellus Council. And we'll move right along then to the step 2, which is the Amelhart Institute this turn. So the Amelhart Institute are going to take the buy asset action as well, continuing this trend of economy. But let's first give them their income for the turn. That will take their current balance of 9 up to 15 faction credits. And they spent quite a lot of money in the past turn. Pretty interesting to see where that all has gone. So, with that though, they are going to be purchasing an asset on Longza in the 0711 Bazaar system. This is a planet they control, as they're the planetary government controllers, so no purchase permissions needed to be requested, even though it's not their homeworld. So, over here, their purchase sickness can clear, and we'll have them buy this covert shipping, covert shipping asset, and appropriately give it purchase sickness. And I think I missed doing that for the Tellus Council's new purchase. Yes, I did. Perfect. This appears on Longza. Fantastic. Let's clear and reset that so that the coloring looks correct. The second thing they're going to do in their turn is take advantage of a covert shipping asset of theirs that is located on Ingrid right here, which can move a special forces unit right along. And they are going to move the commodities broker that is currently over here on planet CO from that planet to the planet of Tellus using the special movement rules relating to Tellus. So that will normally cost 1 faction credit for the covert shipping asset activation, and the Pirates BOI on the planet also triggers, giving 1 faction credit to the Tahora Fai, so that will cost 2 faction credits in total. Let's find this 4 HP commodities broker. It's got to be somewhere on here. Here it is. And move it on up to Tellus, and then go appropriately account for it. That'll take the Amelhart Institute, including their purchase of a covert shipping, down to a balance of 5 faction credits, and the Tahora Fai gain a credit, going up to 7. That wraps up the Amelhart Institute's turn, as we just continue along on our economy train. Breaking that train up, though, will be the Concord of Mutual Disdain, who are going to set the goal of planetary seizure as they have a seize completing this turn, as well as seize a new planet, continuing the expansion of their domain, as it may be. Alright, so let's give them their 7 faction credits and make some asset movements. So the Concord of Mutual Disdain gains +7, taking their balance up to 48. And then they are going to move a strike fleet of theirs that is currently located in the 1418 system on the planet of Tato, and move it on over to 1517. I missed this in my review. There are 2 planets here, and I wasn't told which planet, I don't think. Awkward. Let me double check. I was not. Well, it'll go on planet BI, because that's the first one I think that was discovered in the system. Right. The next thing they're going to do is take the tech level of Tato from a 3 to a 4. So this uses the map modification rules for the revised chart free action. The challenge for increasing the tech level is not insignificant, as we can scroll down and find it in the Making Modifications sections. We can see that a tech level change is a difficulty of 11. However, the constellation bonus that the Concord of Mutual Disdain has, is it actually a 9? Is going to make this fairly easy for them to do. We will need to roll. They don't automatically succeed. Oh, that's the tab I don't have open. I didn't open Roll20 up. Oops. I'll do that. But they will need to roll this. They have a fairly high chance of success, though. Faction turn. Fantastic. So let's roll this d10 plus 9. That's a 14, so this succeeds at taking the tech level of the planet of Tato, which maybe this will find. Look at that, up to TL4. The next thing that is going to roll is taking advantage of the new action that was posted as a result of the Tahora Faiz question asking that they get to do from their ruin. And the new action there was the new free action of Unveil a Ruin. So this, as a free action, you can try to discover the location of an unveiled but unknown where it is present ruin. They get to choose an asset to make this roll, which is a d10 plus the chosen faction's stat for the action, for the asset, excuse me, and then, or with the force stat, and then the money if they wish to spend it. They are not spending any money on this, but they are rolling with the force stat. This rolls versus a DC 14. So let's double check their force stat. The Concord Mutual Disdain have a +6. So that'll mean that this roll is a d10 plus 6 on an attempt to unveil where this ruin is. Gonna be slow today, are we, Roll20? I see how it is. It's new. It was posted in the faction turn updates, but it is very new. It was not announced on stream because it was not known that it was going to be announced until the last Monday, to the time after the stream. But it was announced in the new setup. But a 12 does not, unfortunately, succeed at this difficulty 14 roll. So, unfortunately, there's a failure condition for this cost that is fairly high, which means that this asset now takes 1d8 of damage. So let's see how much damage this smuggler's asset takes, which is at 5. So this was on 1511 was the smuggler asset taking this action, excuse me. And 5 unfortunately kills the smuggler, bringing it down to 0. I'll leave it there for the moment until folks have a chance to write some lore about it, but I should probably add an asset for that, or a status for that, to make it easy to flag, but we will leave that for now. Unfortunate for the Concord of Mutual Disdain. They are then going to use their strike fleet located in the 1718 system, though, to seize the planet of BU, which has no other factions on this planet, as we can double check. It's way over here in the middle of nowhere, and so they can start that siege without any problems. So, seize planet BU, 1 of 3. And then finally, with that siege started, they get to complete their previous siege of planet BT, giving them 1 experience, taking them up to 5, and granting them control over that planet. I have a Court of Mutual Disdain. I have a new name for this planet, which I forgot to listen to the pronunciation guide before before the stream, so I am not going to decide to attempt to pronounce it now, and we will learn the name later. There was a very nice pronunciation guide, however, shared for the new planet, but it is in the Glorious system, which seems quite appropriate for it. That, I believe, takes care of everything for the Concord of Mutual Disdain's turn. That takes us right along then to the next faction up, which is the Larkspur Combine. There's an interesting thing there. Coming in fourth this faction turn, they're going to continue the trend of taking the inside enemy territory goal, and we should go give them their income as well, bringing them up to 6 faction credits. Bringing them up by 6 faction credits, excuse me. So that will take them up to a total of 12, and then they are going to use their asset abilities to make a bunch of rolls. So we have 4 Post-Tech Industries to roll for, 2 and 2 party machines. So Post-Tech Industries need to make a d6 roll, as we can find the details here, and depending on the result, they will either earn or lose some faction credits. So let's go roll 4 d6. That is a 6, 5, 4, and 3. Those are pretty good results. So I believe 5 and 6 earns 2 faction credits, 2 and 4 earns 1, or 2 through 4 earns 1. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faction credits. That's an entire turn's income for them. That is pretty nice. Now there are 2 party machines here as well. Those both also roll a d6. A 4 and a 1, I believe, means one of them will earn a faction credit, as we double check that it is yes on a 4+. So that is a total of 7 faction credits gained from this this turn's use asset ability, taking them up to 19. Up next then is moving 4 strike fleets around to complete the inside enemy territory goal. They are going to be moving some strike fleets that are currently located on Mankiraniti is moving on over to Kartakuk. The 2 strike fleets on Idarest are moving to Mankiraniti, and the 1 strike fleet here on Heliositis is moving to Icaros. Go. Fixed on the planet there. That's the 4 of those moved. That's going to cost them 4 faction credits. Let's subtract that balance, taking them back down to 15. Up next then, they have a part of their quest action that they're going to take. So the quest, their internal civil war, the Massian civil war as it may be, is underway. And they are going to take the action here and try to complete this Old Man's Dinner event. So they are going to be spending 5 faction credits to this roll. They're going to be adding their cunning stat, and they are going to be adding a +4 by taking the d8 of damage as a event during this as an event during this event. Man, that sentence was poorly formed. As a penalty during this event, I guess is the correct way to put that. That results in them needing to roll a minimum roll of a 14. The DC is listed here, even though the notes they sent to me said it was against an unlisted dice challenge. It's a DC 13 roll. That would mean they've actually overdone the minimum adds they needed. Well, perhaps I'll pitch it out to chat then. Should I be polite and roll down their damage roll to a d6, since that would all they would need to take? That seems better than the No, a 1 would not be a failure because it's versus a DC 13, and they would be adding... right now their notes would be adding a 5 plus a 4 plus a 4, right? So right now they're adding 13, and they would need to, that would have them roll a 14 minimum because there's a 1 on the die, and they only need to beat the DC, so they would only need to add a plus 12. Fair enough. Just thought I would double check. Because it is listed, so. Anyway. A roll of a d10 then, plus, we just summed that up ourselves. We said this was a plus 13, giving them a result of a 19 on this die roll. And to take the d8 of damage, they will be taking 6 damage against the planetary defenses. They do succeed, though, which means that on my tracking here for the Mossian Civil War, the old man side gets 1 gray die. Congratulations for that success. Let's go deal the appropriate damage to the planetary defenses asset. I believe that was 6 of damage, so... where are they at? Right here. Planetary defenses go down to a 14 on their HP then. And they need to be charged 5 faction credits, bringing their balance down to 10. Congratulations on that success then. They do complete their goal, granting them a total of 2 experience, taking them up to 12. The Assembled Commonwealth is up next then, taking it on into step 5 of this faction turn. They're going to be taking the exploration goal, and will gain their income in just a moment here. Need to add that note. So let's go give them their money, taking their balance from... I just reduced somebody's balance wrong here, I think. Did I? Is that right? I don't think so. That should be 20 then. I think my cell is just there because it tabbed down. Okay, so they get 5 faction credits. They're over their force cap by 1. So it's highlighted red. They're getting 1 there. Yep, that math looks correct. Exploration is up next then, but we have a few things to do first. They're going to take the free action of Revised Charts to modify the population on the planet of Quiritas in the 1213 system right here, trying to take it from an outpost to millions of people on a success here. Their constellation bonus is only a +4, so this is a d10 +4 against a DC 11 challenge. They've hit the 11 exactly, taking this thing up then to a millions of people living there. Congratulations to them. The next thing they're going to do is take advantage of an extended theater asset of theirs, currently sitting on Malacca, which is right over here, to move the covert shipping asset that is on the same planet to Idarast, costing them 1 faction credit. They're then going to use the covert shipping asset on Idarast, the one that gets moved over there, to move a commodities broker on Malaga to a point of interest. So they're going to be moving... I think those commodities brokers are both the same, so one of these 2 commodities brokers to the 0814 point of interest, which they'll be able to reach from Idarast once the covert shipping asset has moved. The way the movement rules resolve there is fine, because the covert shipping asset has not moved anything. It's being moved by a different asset. One of those fun edge cases that we worked on quite heavily in the movement rules. So let's go charge them for all of that, and hopefully that visualization helps things make a little bit of sense there. So first up is the covert shipping needing to move to Malacca, to Idarast. I believe it is this one. And then from Idarast, the covert shipping on Malacca, doesn't matter which one, so I'm going to choose this one, is going to move to the 0814 system. That costs a total of 3 faction credits, including the additional one for moving into a point of interest. Been a while since I've had to charge for that, I think. And then we'll go roll the exploration roll. So that takes the assembled Commonwealth's balance down to 17. And then they're going to be rolling to explore in the 0814 system. This is a difficulty 12 roll, as it is 2 hexes away from planet Y over here, rather than the original 3 from the starting planets. So that's going to be a d10 plus 6 roll. They will succeed on a failure if it occurs, but a 10 does trigger that, unfortunately, so taking a d4 of damage is 2 damage to the commodities broker, but they do reveal some planets. Let's see how many are here. I believe a 5 is going to be multiple planets, so we will handle that in just a moment. The moved commodities broker is right here. It goes down to 8. And let's check the exploration events for generating a oops. I want the action for exploration, not that. It's on here somewhere. There we go. We're then going to follow this section for the creation, so I changed a heading on myself. That's fun. Well, that link can be removed and I'll figure it out later. Anyway, a 5 is 2 planets right here. The first planet, oh, that was the wrong result of a d20 we wanted. Unfortunately, a 1 doesn't do anything, but it does mean that there's not a ruin here. So, this is the first world there. I'll bring that results back in just a second. For now, though, let's come over to the planet map and add this planet. It's CV? Oh, I think it's on the CV. And then CW. If I'm wrong, we will fix that after the stream. So the planet CV has the mechanical tag of the planetary government controller gains +2 to their wealth cap and loses 1 from their other asset stats. It has a population of millions of people living at a wonderful TL4 technology level in a breathable mix atmosphere with a frozen biosphere and an engineered biosphere. It comes with the planet tags of Theocracy and Tomb World, which seem quite interesting for this planet. Let's fix these for the new column. The second planet in this system of CW has the mechanical tag of military units cost 1 less. It has a population of completely uncolonized, but it is also a TL4 equivalent planet. It has a breathable mix atmosphere, but this world is burning as compared to its neighbor world, which is frozen. And it only has a microbial life sphere. It has the planet tags of seismic instability, and apparently, even though it's uncolonized, there's also a eugenics cult here. Unfortunately, a ruins roll of a 19 is dangerously close, but not a 20. so no ruin discovered. That is the exploration then for the assembled Commonwealth completed. Let us grant them their 2 experience points for completing that, taking them up to a total of 5. And that wraps up their turn. So we'll move along to the next faction, which is the Children of the Vein, who are receiving an income of 7 this turn, taking their balance up to an 18. They're going to be taking the repair action and using that to repair some of their assets. So the first thing they're going to be repairing is there is a strike fleet on Tellus that is dangerously low on HP, so they're going to spend 1 faction credit to repair that up. Let's find that. They are gaining plus 6 HP a turn, or per spend, so that takes that all the way up to 8. The Gravitank formation, also on Tellus, is going to trigger as well. It's going to also gain plus 6, taking itself up to 13. This cost would normally be minus 2 for the second repair action, but there is a medical center on world that is contributing and only making this a minus 1 cost. So that is 2 faction credits on total. They are then going to take advantage of being a member of the Tellus Council to activate the 1 HP repair trigger for free, repairing up this Gravitank formation by plus 1 HP up to 14. This is their free use of the Tellus activations. Finally, they're going to use an extended theater asset currently located on the planet of Moss, right up here. One of the 2 of these. It probably is the Deliverance, because that one has a name, but they're just noted as A and B. It doesn't make a huge difference. To move the extended theater on Moss over to Tellus, and it's going to be moving itself over, so that's the important clarification. The second extended theater on Moss is also going to activate to move a pre-tech infantry asset on Heliositis over to Moss. So, right up there. They didn't tell me which one to move, so I'll move one of the 2 of those. I think they're both at the same HP mount, so it shouldn't matter for that regard. It just matters for the asset name. So, that was a total cost then for all of these things of 4 faction credits, but I'm going to do the movements before we go charge them for that. So the extended theater asset moving itself does so, landing on Tellus. It would trigger the Pirate BOI on landing, but the bank negates that cost. Lovely combos. And the other extended theater asset will activate to move that pre-tech infantry asset from Heliositis. It looks like I have the options of Bispell, Gospel, or Hymn. I don't know if there's been an update in chat. Let me check. Nope. So we will just move Gospel over to the planet of Moss. I'm sure that inconsequential choice won't show up in a lore presentation with devilish consequences. But that takes care of all of those actions. There were 4 credits of charge that need to be negated, so that takes their balance down to 14 faction credits and wraps up their turn. Up next then is the Starlit Court, coming in 7th this faction turn. They're going to be taking the exploration action as well as the Assembled Commonwealth, and they're also going to be hopefully making a good chance at finishing up their quest that has been active for quite a long time. So let's give them their money, taking them up from their 6 faction credits gained up to 56. They're starting to rival, and in fact have currently overtaken with the most faction credits. Congratulations to the mercenaries for succeeding at doing so. Let's see here. They're going to then first explore with a strike fleet in the point of interest at 1502, so that's way up right here. It's 2 hexes away from the, or excuse me, 1 hex away from the nearest explored planet, meaning this is only a difficulty 10 roll. A strike fleet is a force asset, so they get to add their +6 to this. So let's go roll a d10 +6 to figure out what happens. That's a 14. That is a success. So no damage needs to be taken. Let's see how many planets they reveal here. A 6 reveals 3 planets. Oh boy. Let's get through these as quickly as we can. The first planet coming on up in the 1502 system. I'm going to need, right here, I'm going to need 2 more rows below this, please. Yes, spreadsheet, I know I'm doing things you don't like. 1502 and 1502. So this is planet CX, planet CY, and planet CZ in the same system as above. Cool, so the first planet here gets the mechanical tag of add 1 XP for a successful seizure. It has a population of tens of millions of people living at TL0 with a thick atmosphere, a burning temperature, and a hybrid biosphere. It comes with the planet tags of anthropomorphics and radioactive world. Well, at least it has explained away its TL0 status in a much easier way than some other planets find themselves in. The second planet, oh, it only had a ruins roll of an 8, so that does not reveal a planet, unfortunately. The second planet in this system has the tag that Starship's assets cost 1 less. There are hundreds of millions of people living here at TL4 status. They find themselves in a corrosive atmosphere that is variably cold with a microbio biosphere. It only has the planet tags then of cultural power and alien ruins. With a ruin roll of a 7, that does not reveal a ruin either. Finally, the last planet, planet CZ, that's hard to say, comes on in with the mech tag of tactic assets, cost 1 less. It has a population of currently uncolonized, but it does find itself to be a TL5 world. It has an airless or thin atmosphere with a variable warm temperature along with a remnant biosphere. It has the planet tags of minimal contact and post-scarcity as its updates. So congratulations for finding those 3 planets. Let me bring the rolls back over. That last roll was a ruins roll of an 11, so that also does not find any ruins. Up next, then, the next thing they're going to do is try to make the last discovery roll. They need 4 Grail. They have a smuggler asset hanging out in space at the 1609 hex for no apparent reason, and they are going to make a roll here from that hex. So the roll they get to be making is it is 6 hexes away from their last successful ping, so that gives them a +6. They're going to spend 3 faction credits on this roll, and they did manage to find, through some graciousness on my part, due to it becoming fairly impossible as many turns later as it was, a bonus world that related to this this planet. So, that gives them a +1 for a total bonus of +10 on this roll. So they are going to try to reveal it. The difficulty has increased by 2 each time. It started at a base difficulty of 10, so I believe that means the difficulty for this should be a 14. So let's roll a d10 plus their bonus adds of a 10. Unfortunately, they have only rolled a 12, which is a failure for this roll. So they do not succeed in discovering if they have found where Grail World is. Unfortunate. They do need to be charged 3 faction credits for the attempt, though, taking them down to 53 faction credits, right under the most. Very anticlimactic. Unfortunate. With that, though, we'll move right along and grant them their 2 faction credits for at least succeeding at an exploration, or excuse me, their 2 XP for succeeding at an exploration, and move on to the Tahora Fai. Find themselves 8 this faction turn. Tahora is going to continue our trend of buying assets that we saw earlier in the faction by buying a surveyor's asset on the planet of CH. But first, let's grant them their income by trying to give them their 12 faction credits. That's going to take their balance up to 19 faction credits. And then they are going to spend 4 of that to buy a surveyor's asset on a planet that is theirs. We'll take them down to 15, and Tahora Fai is down here. This can lose purchase sickness as they purchased it last turn, and the Tahora Fai have bought a surveyor's. And it was purchased on, is that the correct world? Nope, planet CH. Cool. That wraps up that purchase. We should fix the HP though. They can only have 4 out of 4, not 12 out of 4. That's unfortunate. But they then will try to guide the white whale with a contested 4v4 roll. So we'll roll for the attackers first with a d10 plus 4, giving the Tahora Y a 10, meaning the whale needs to roll that or better, and it does with a 13, so it is unconvinced to follow their instructions to head to a different planet. They're then going to take the revised charts action to attempt to modify Rosebud's atmosphere, rolling a d10 plus 7 against a DC 11. This is a 14. Now this is the modifications roll for atmosphere, so that means that there is several points earned. I believe a 14 is high enough over the modifications roll that they get to actually add some additional modification points. So that's where's that? Right here. Yep, so plus 1 modification points for every 2 over the difficulty, so that is 2 modification points, getting to shift the atmosphere around. I believe they included instructions last turn on how to change this planet, even though it's, yeah, not listed in this turn, but I recall I have seen this previously for Rosebud. Yes, the target was breathable mix. So let's go take a look at where the planet is at. It is at invasive, so that would move down to thick, and the additional point would allow them to move to breathable mix right away. So they get to succeed at that. They did not set a goal for this turn, so that is no change there. And that wraps up the turn of the Tahora Fai then. I think I needed to mark this as purchased, which is good. That means we get to move over to Ascent, coming in 9th this faction turn. Let's give them their income of 6, taking them up to 60 faction credits. They're going to be setting the goal of planetary seizure, and then buying an asset, much like their friends who just completed their turn. They're going to purchase a treachery asset on Icaros after moving the exploration stack. Oops, I never actually went back and updated that to the planet of 0. 0200 for the hex. Man, I'm gonna take a drink. Too much talking. Anyway, let's figure out their movement stack here. They've been moving the 2 exploration assets around quite a bit. It is a smuggler's asset, as well as I believe there should be something else with it on the up here. It is the the smugglers and the seditionists right over here, jumping on over. So that is those 2 assets, hitching a ride for a faction credit. 1 faction credit later, those movements get to complete. That's from the 04 system of planet CU, and they get to move over to 0200. I don't know why that hex number is so hard for me to say. That will cost 2 faction credits for the increase of the point of interest. And then they're going to purchase that treachery asset. So let's add that in. They are made it up to a 7 last turn, so congratulations on them for being able to make this purchase of our first Cunning 7 asset on their homeworld of Icaros. And this gets Purchase Sickness and should only have 5 HP, not the 10. That would cost them 10, meaning their total cost for this turn is 12 faction credits, taking them down to 48. The Seas makes its progress. Are they supposed to have a Seas in progress? They set their goal to that. Have I not been tracking something I was supposed to? Several turns ago. Nope. I think they're a turn off on that. Oops. Well, that sets their goal, so I'll do that. But I believe they completed the Seas of Planet CU last turn. So mistakes happen. Guess they don't complete a goal then. I was wrong. That wraps up then the Ascent turn. And we move to our final player faction for the turn 28 of the Agumon Syndicate, who are going to wrap things up with buying an asset. But first, let's give them their money. You're right, Dacia should increase. Let's give them their money up to a total balance of 26 faction credits. They're then going to move 2 strike fleets from the empty hex of 0710 to 0511, excuse me, which the map is not going to be happy about, but I will fix in a little bit. So those 2 strike fleets move for 2 faction credits. There's a 1 HP strike fleet currently in the 10-10-10 empty hex that will move to Nueva Cuauhtémoc for 1 faction credits, a total of 3. And then finally the Commonwealth, the Agumon Syndicate will purchase a strike fleet asset on the planet of Gome, where the planet tag is beneficial for purchasing force assets, only having it cost 11 rather than 12. So that means there is a total cost to them of 14 on this faction turn, taking them down to a balance of 3. No, excuse me, that was the wrong one. A balance of 12. Confusing the Agumon Syndicate and the Simple Commonwealth on more than just my verbal speaking. That wraps up the Algomal Syndicate's turn, and we get to move on to the White Whale, which was unconvinced by the Tohorafai to move this turn, so it is going to make a die roll to see if it should either heal or gain the stealth property. So let's go roll a d10 to find out. A d10, an odd result of a 7 means it should gain stealth. I believe it may already have stealth. It does not, so it gets to pick stealth up, putting itself hidden from view. That wraps up the White Whale's turn. Congratulations to it. And we'll move on to our sort of post-stream, post-turn mechanical actions that need to take place. So the first thing on the list is the Concord of Mutual Disdain are joining the Tellus Council, with their petition to join being accepted by the members of the Council. So 4 faction credits later for the Concord of Mutual Disdain, that takes them down to 44, grants 2 to the Tellus Council, taking them up to 11. They have chosen to contribute a force and a wealth stat over time, so that will increase the total number of the faction's stat line as it rolls out. And we get to go add them onto this list. Right there. So that takes care of adding the Concord of Mutual Disdain into the Tellus Council, at least on the spreadsheet. They'll get added into the appropriate channels in the Discord server shortly afterwards. There's another thing that needs to be announced that maybe you'll get to hear more about from the upcoming lore stream, as I will probably turn some of these events into lore releases in some way, or they'll make their way into the reports from the sector's favorite reporter of Chaz, Gusto Prime, from the Children of the Vein. But the Tellus Council has had an event, as most councils are supposed to have, and they were presented with some options they needed to choose between to figure out what will be the primary focus of this sort of event chain going forward, as they got to deal with some emails from a chief engineer. So they have had 3 options to choose between. They were either choosing for the relevant ruin research, the Galactic Gate, or a third option that had no votes, so it's not in my list, or the planetary proposition topic. So the votes were as followed. The relevant ruin research was voted for by the Tohorafai, the Larkspur Combine, and the Assembled Commonwealth, giving it 3 votes. Galactic Gate was voted on by the Agumala Syndicate and the Children of the Vein, giving it 2 votes. Ascent did not petition a vote in for this event, so they did not cast a vote, but that doesn't impact their turn, as they still submitted the actual slate for the council. So that means the relevant ruin research will be the focus of this exploration and this event chain going forward. Let's find out how well this may be going. So to determine this, there is a table that has been sort of set up by myself, but the actual results are hidden. It would sort of defeat the purpose if you knew what you were trying to roll for on this table. And so this sort of impacts the progression of the quest and how good or bad the progress that gets made is. So we roll a 2d8 and we roll a 6 here. So I've made a note that they rolled a 6, and the council will get an update on their quest line going forward based on that result. Keeping it secret also allows it to evolve more accurately for the specific event we're working on, rather than it being a fixed table that I have to work around in the future. So we have another thing to take care of for multi-faction interactions. We have the Ruin in Lagan that gives away a distorted lens asset to a random faction each time. So we need to roll a d11 to determine which faction should receive it. And 11 is the council again. That's funny. So, the Tellus Council receives another asset, and even though it was brought up in a discussion that I was concerned I had maybe accounted for this with being at its force cap, and not awarding the asset, I already did so earlier to the Assembled Commonwealth. It was pointed out that perhaps my wording for the limit on the Lagan thing is actually a reference to the maximum of 5 of the specific asset that they are allowed to hold. So I believe this means the Tellus Council receives another Distorted Lens asset. Congratulations to it. Tellus Council. Cool. Let's add that in here. And they will have to determine how they want to deal with being over there. Oh, nope, sorry, it's St. Langen, not on Tellus. They're really just trying to mess up my, these assets don't move off of Tellus thing, aren't they? Huh. Funny enough. Well, there's a second Distorted Lens asset for them. Just let's skip this section in my notes. It's not relevant. Cool. There's a few rules updates I need to make then, just so that these are available for everyone to be aware of them. So first up is there is a new tag being added to the game, Respectful Hunters. All Starship assets gain the following action. As a free action, they can raise the hides to gain the Armored status. This is the tag that Agumon Syndicate will receive if they succeed at their quest. It's been worked out with them in some detail. So that'll be added as a new faction tag that's available, and as stated, they'll receive it if they get their quest completed successfully. And then finally, there are 2 goals updates to announce. The first one is that Peaceable Kingdom is going to get an update so that it is a little bit fairer and makes more sense to ever consider taking. So the new wording of that is going to be Peaceable Kingdom, launch no attacks on rival factions while this goal is active. This faction may still defend against attacks. For each turn after this goal is selected, increase the XP earned by 1. This faction may choose to complete this goal after 4 or more turns have passed since it was originally selected. So that means the base minimum XP reward becomes a 3 XP, but it continues to increase by 1 the longer you hold on to this goal. Finally, this was in the centralized rules document, but I had it marked as not an option yet, but I'm going to formally make it one. I'm adding the goal Scout a System, which is scout a system or planet, establishing a new sector object on the map. The completion of any of the revised chart's goals gives +1 XP, regardless of the difficulty of the object established. So that turns the exploration system into and map modification system into a more robust XP generation rather than only giving it for exploration. So, as always, these updates text-wise will be available in the faction updates channel shortly after the turn. It may take slightly longer than usual because I may have double booked myself and I'm getting ready to jump into the Beacon Space Free Agents game that is going to be starting in the next few minutes on the Discord server. So if you're interested and you're hanging out, maybe you'll be able to listen in to that session as it takes place on the planet of Planet Z, way over here. Right here in the 1314 system, and we get to find out why it's keeping its out of contact status well into this world of Beacon Space. With that, though, I think I'm going to wrap up the stream, and thank everyone for coming out and enjoying. As always, the faction turn is quite fun to run, and hopefully we'll see you next month. Don't forget the faction swaps process on Monday at around 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, so be sure to get any change requests in before then if you want to move factions. The schedule for the upcoming turn will be available shortly, and yeah, I can't wait to see what happens for turn 29, along with the upcoming lore stream itself. With that, I will send us to some fun, chill music, and we will head on out of here. Thanks everyone for joining us today in the faction turn.